Audio check. 1, 2, 3. Check. Check. 1, 2, 3, check. Okay. Two cameras. Okay, everybody's recording. Lights. Okay. my YouTube painting channel, and thanks for watching. I'm Larry Hamilton, and we're going to do a fun painting today. I think it's going to be a little bit challenging for me, and hopefully I can teach you a few things about it, maybe if I don't mess it up too badly. Many of you have probably tried to paint a scene that's a sunset or a sunrise where all the foreground tends to go in sort of silhouette, really dark. That's the image we have today. We're going to be working on a sunset scene, and I'm going to show you some of the challenges you get with the camera by taking these sunset scenes. They look very beautiful on a digital camera, but how do you paint them? How do you make them look more representative, more realistic, as if you were there? So I'm going to show you a few tricks that I've learned, and hopefully I can pull them off for you. And so let me go over to my computer very quickly, and I'll show you a few of the images that we're going to be working from, and show you how I got my basic sketch to work from, which I've had up here for you for a few minutes, and hopefully you've been able to see that. So let me get going here. I think I had my camera off. I'm sorry, or not my camera, I had my microphone turned off. I'm going to start this over, folks. Sorry about that. I need to have a good clean video when I re-edit this, so I'm going to say thank you again for watching. I just noticed my microphone was shut off. I have four cameras I record, about 5 lights, and the microphone, as well as the video switcher that I use here to change my scene. And anyway, it's a little bit left brain, right brain work that I go through. Let me say again, welcome. I'm Larry Hamilton. Thanks for tuning in. And we're going to do a scene today that's a sunset scene, and maybe many of you have had issues with sunsets or sunrises where the foreground's all in a silhouette form, and it's really hard to paint it because most digital cameras take that type of scene and turn everything in the foreground to black. And so black's not a very pleasing color to put on your painting, and so but yet if you painted that photo, that's probably what you would do. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how I've treated it, how I've lightened it up to kind of get some of the images behind the scenes and or in the scene that you can't see in the original digital photo. So let me step over to my computer now, and I'll show you a few of the images and how I got the sketch that was being shown on the screen here before we started. Get around here. Okay. Here we go. Here I am. Thanks, folks. And I want to show you now my original photo that I started with. And it is basically, like I said a minute ago, it's basically very, very dark in the foreground. You see this big burst of light in the center from the sunset. But the objects in the foreground are very, very hard to make out. So I cropped that photo down. Can't hardly tell there's much cropping, but I made it fit my 11 by 14 canvas. And that's really what I do the cropping for primarily, unless I want to crop something out of the scene that I don't want to really paint. So I've had that photo available, and I have my cropped photo here, or my grid photo rather, and it has been up on the screen for a while, and along with that I've used that to create my value map, which I show you about every time I paint for you. And so as you can see, it's got a lot of bright white in the center bursting out from this sunset, with a lot of dark in the left foreground connected to some dark that goes across the bottom. So I made that into a sketch, and I've also had that posted for a while as we've been working here. And I want to show you one other photo. I think I've got it here on my desktop. No, I don't. I guess I didn't send that to myself. Well, I can't show it. I'll show you when I get over to the camera or to the easel, and we'll go from there. So anyway, this is the sketch. This sketch will be on my website by the time I re-edit the video and get it posted. You can watch it live, and you can watch it after the fact. It gets recorded by YouTube, and you can come back and watch it. But I always re-edit these videos and make a cleaner copy and cut out some of the stuff. Like you notice I started off with my microphone off, and I will cut that out of the final video before I repost it. But anyway, let me step back now and head over to my easel again, and we will talk about this other photo that I have and see if I can actually show it to you here. It's going to be hard to see, but you see what I've done. I've used a photo manipulator software to basically brighten this thing up very much, so you can actually see the foreground. You can see the dock that goes back here. You can see the 2 or 3 boats that are in the back. So I use that to kind of get my sketch from, even though the rest of the photograph was so lightened up you can't even tell what it is. It just looks like a big burst of white light back there. But that allows me to see this dark image in the foreground. So I'm going to use that image as an idea. I'm not going to paint it as dark. I'm not going to paint it black like it is in the photograph. But I'm going to use that as my guide to at least see the objects and the shapes that I want to have in the foreground. So anyway, I'll put that on my easel here and have it down here hanging below so I can refer to that. So I've got my original photo up here that I showed you a second ago. I got my value map over here, and I then have my other photo that's the brightened one that actually shows the objects here in the foreground that I can use as a guide to paint, and I will show you that when I get to it. Okay, so I think that's all I want to say there. Let me go to my palette now and tell you about the colors that I have here. This is my standard Bob Ross colors. I'll go over them very quickly. I have liquid white here in my paper plate, and I will be using that shortly when I start the painting. And I want to explain the colors here. I've added one additional color on here that I'll tell you in a second. We've got titanium white, I have phthalo blue, I have Prussian blue, I have midnight black, Van Dyke brown, dark sienna, alizarin crimson, a little bit of sap green. I probably won't even use sap green. I don't think there's any green in this painting. I have cad yellow, yellow ochre, Indian yellow, and bright red. And I have added here a Grumbacher color called cadmium orange, which, if you notice, this photograph has a lot of orange in it. So rather than trying to mix that orange out of my reds and yellows here, I'm going to just use that and maybe tone it down or tone it up. And then I always add my ultramarine violet color from Grumbacher as well. So I have 2 Grumbacher colors, and the rest are Bob Ross colors. And have my usual complement of brushes, which I've shown you about every time I paint. My Treckle brushes, and my Bob Ross brushes, and my Bob Ross painting knife. These are Filberts here, a number 16, a number 10, a number 6, and a number 2 Filbert. I have some flats, 3 flats, a number 12, a number 4, and a 0, and I have a round brush from the Bob Ross set. I have a fan brush, I have a script liner, I have that 1-inch landscape brush. You can see I have a new landscape brush on the right and an old one on the left. You see how much I've beat that brush down by painting and stippling in my canvas. So it's about ready to be thrown away. It's very hard and stiff. I still keep it soft here on the tips, but it's really getting too old to use anymore, so I'm going to probably start using this. I have my Bob Ross painting knife, and I have a couple of other palette knives that I may use, I may not use. I may not use any of these, I don't know yet. I'll see how they work and what I need to do. So let me get those over, and we will get started on this painting. And I want to get my palette adjusted for you on the live audience here so that it's on the right side. I want to zoom in my camera here so that you can see the oops, I think here we go. I want to get my camera zoomed in here so you can see the full easel or see the full painting, and try to get it lined up so that you can see the tops and the bottoms. Have my paints on the right. Okay, and I think that's all I wanted to tell you. Interesting thing is really about this having having this light and photographs that I can work from, so that I can really see the objects here in this area behind this dock that goes back into the water. So let's start off, get my liquid white going here. I've got this big number 16 treacle brush. Could use my Bob Ross landscape brush, but I'm just going to start putting some of this in very lightly so I can get some nice movement in this screen, or on this canvas. And I like to be able to paint to be able to flow, so this liquid white helps that paint flow very easily. If you've watched me before, you know that I tend to use it in areas where I don't have other objects to paint around or paint over. I like to make sure I keep my sketch in focus. If you've watched Bob Ross, you know that he covers the entire canvas for you, and then he has to remember where everything goes. But when I have objects like boats or houses or something like that, I like to try to keep those so that I don't destroy the image that I want to preserve when I'm painting. I could also ask you if you have any questions for me or want to ask anything of me, have a idea or a question, just type it into the screen there, the chat window, and I will keep checking my computer here that's at my left elbow, and try to keep track of what you're asking and see if I can answer those questions online here real time. Okay, so I've kind of got this pretty well laid in here. Nice thin coat of this liquid white. Liquid white makes the paint dry slower, so when you put this liquid white on, it will, in fact, take a while to dry. It will keep your painting from drying as fast as it would if you didn't have the liquid white. So with that, all right, now what are we going to do about this sky? This sky has got all kind of colors in it. It's got all kind of bright colors, dark colors. I'm going to check a little bit of this cadmium orange to start with, just to see. If you don't have cadmium orange, I'm going to see if I can, maybe I can try to mix it up here for you, see if I can get close. I'm not sure. I'll use my cad red here and a little bit of this Indian yellow, but you see I don't get the same creamy color. I have to add some white to that to try to get a color match, but I'm getting close. So if you just have the standard Bob Ross colors, you can get close to this color, but it's still a different color, a little bit different tone, a little bit different. So I'm close, but not exactly. With this white, I'm able to lighten it up some and get closer, but it's still not the exact color. This is right out of the tube, this cadmium orange. So I'm getting close. And theoretically, you should be able to do this. I shouldn't have to use that cadmium orange, but usually I do that just to save time or save aggravation of trying to make the color and then come back and make it again. So let's leave that for a moment and come back here, and I want to see what this looks like on the canvas. Maybe I want a little bit more red in that. Start with the color. I want these brush strokes. Why am I making my brush strokes go like this? I want this to look like it's flaring out from the sun, which the sun is like right here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's right there. I'm going to have some more red in here, redden it up a little bit. And I'm going to have some dark color around the edges, but basically this is emanating from the sun, which is here. So all of these brush strokes, you want to try to make them go as like this. Okay, so that's what I want to show you. The sun is like right here. So all of this burst of sky is really coming from that. We also have, I'm going to pick up some of this brown and put a little bit of the dark sienna here in it and see what I can do there. A little bit of brown, and I'm going to put in a little bit of the my ultramarine violet color up here. And see, it's lightening up because I've got that liquid white on there, but it lets it flow and lets it move, but it also lightens it up considerably. I want this to be dark and darker. These corners got to be very dark. I'm just getting the color base in there right now, using my browns and my violets. Okay, so this is a different way of painting, folks. It's got a different... Get some base color in there, get some more orange, get some more red over here. As I pull that out, it basically feathers it out into a lighter color because of the underpainting white, the liquid white that's underneath. I've got some more reds up in here. This is sort of a crazy looking, kind of ugly painting right now. Start over here and see what I can do with the okay, let's come back and hit it with this brush. Well, certainly the brush strokes give you the idea that this is exploding from the center. Not the center really, it's the focal point over here, which is the point of interest. Back behind here, I've got this land that sort of lies back here like this. This thing may go very quickly today, folks. I don't know. I'm making a lot of headway on this painting. It may be done a lot faster than... question. Oh, someone from Moscow. Someone... how do you make liquid white? Basically, you can use linseed oil and titanium white. If you use regular titanium white, you can make a nice... that's almost what it is, but it's a special blend of some kind. I'm not exactly sure of the formula, but it's about 50-50, 50% titanium white and about 50% of linseed oil, and you'll get something very close to liquid white. That's one way to make it. If I run out of liquid white, that's what I usually do. I use either thinner or some linseed oil. Hello from Moscow. Let's see, Pakistan. Wow, 10:15 p.m. there. Hello. What kind of canvas am I using? This is 11 by 14 canvas. It is basically it's a Dick Blick academic canvas. I buy them in volume, so I get them 2 to 4 to a pack, and basically, I use them for my painting demonstrations all the time, and they're pretty nice. It's There's a lot of, you can spend a lot of money on canvas if you want. Sometimes I have boards I'll paint on a board, but most of the time I use canvas. Which store can I buy Bob Ross brushes from in the U.S.? If you have an account with Dick Blick, dickblick.com, D-I-C-K-B-L-I-C-K, Dick Blick, you will be able to get a full complement of his brushes, his paints, in the U.S. I'm not sure. They still have a lot of his paints and stuff in art stores all over the place, because he's still, even though Bob Ross has not been with us since 1993, I believe, is when he passed away. His son runs the company, and they still make his paints, they still make his brushes. There's quite a following. Last year, I think it was last year, 2 years ago, there was a sort of a cult following about Bob Ross. Some bars started showing his old videos, and people would come in and they would actually have demonstrators up there trying to copy his paintings and turn it into a nice event for a lot of people that came to the bar. And I thought that was kind of a unique way to sort of celebrate his life and his paintings. I'm going to keep coming back here and keep putting in more colors. I want to darken this down some more. It's still a little bit too light for me back here, but it does. You see what? I don't know if you noticed that while I was answering those questions, I pulled up this landscape brush and I blended. This was a nice blender that is used to sort of pull these colors together, and you see how that it gives it that nice soft look that I'm not getting with these treacle brushes. Treacle brushes are this is a synthetic mongoose. It's not the same kind of a bristle that the Bob Ross brushes are, but I like the way they feel. I like the way they paint. I like the way they react. So I've been using those a lot. I see some bright yellows in here. I'm going to get a little touch of this cad yellow on my brush. I haven't cleaned my brushes out at all yet, folks. I'm just still using. That's not very pure. I got see here if I can get. I picked up some of that lavender when I mixed that, or that ultramarine violet. When I mixed that with my yellows, I started getting some green in there. So these things have some bright yellow clouds showing up in here. Along with the orange. So I just want to make sure my brushes are cleaner and they don't get polluted with the violet, because that will turn this stuff to green, and I don't really want that. I moved my palette for you folks that are watching live. So we're getting some whites here, some not whites, but yellow with a little bit of orange in it in some of these areas. I'm coming down here now. Let's see. Actually, I want a nice layer of orange down below that. But this is sort of the bright white area that's in here, showing these clouds. Again, I'm pointing everything to the sun. The sun is here, so I'm making everything kind of point toward it, because that's what's lighting up these clouds, whether it's white or yellow or whatever. It's coming from the sun that's setting here in the distance. A few of them are horizontal here. Okay, now I have another layer of this orange right here above there's some mountains or trees back here in the background that I want to capture. So I'm going to go back and get that orange, get me some more red in there, paint around the sun, right in there. I've left a little bitty spot for the sun right there. I don't know if you can see that, but that's what it's for. Question, what oil paints am I using? Most all of these are Bob Ross paints. They're all but two of them are Bob Ross paints. And the two that are not, I have this cadmium orange here, and I have this ultramarine violet over here. Those are Grumbacher paints. So most of the paints you can get from an art store. Most art stores in the U.S. will sell them. They sell Grumbacher as a very popular paint, and so it's around a lot. Okay, so I'm getting this horizon. I have to blend that a little more. It's not blended enough here in this area. I'll sort of run those together a little bit. So I have this nice, smooth color going on. It's very hard to paint around my boats over here. Okay, so I've got some interesting colors coming up here. Let me see if I can get a little more of this violet coming out here in some of these areas. I want it to be darker. That's darker. Right over the sun, there's a cloud. So let me look at that. Since that's a cloud, I want it to be softer. So I'll see if I can come in with my brush here and sort of blend it very softly. I don't want it to have a lot of hard edges. I do want it to have some more of this colors coming out of it this way. These colors go from sort of a reddish color to a purple color to a brown color in some areas. I want them to have the brush strokes that kind of say that's what's going on. So I'm just using this big landscape brush, 1-inch landscape brush, to sort of blend and pull these together. This is taking some time, but this is really an important part of this painting. And I want to come back now. I've got some more of that ultramarine violet color back here in this area. So I'm just going to lay it on top, and I'm going to use my blending brush and come back and blend it out. I'm using up all my ultramarine violet paint here. So by doing it this way, I'm able to come back now and sort of put in these overriding brush strokes that sort of help. So even though that might be a cloud of some kind, I can actually make it have movement by putting in these brush strokes like that. Hang on, I need to get a little more of my violet out here. I'm going to put a little bit more on this palette. I didn't realize I was going to use that much, but it's such a nice color. The only problem with the Grumbacher color is that it's fairly thin, and it mixes and dilutes out with these other colors around it very easily. So let me put in some more of that up here. See if I can get this corner darker. I really want that corner to be dark. I'm going to see if I can blacken it up, add a little black to it maybe. Midnight Black, that should give me some more dark colors up here. Midnight Black kind of does the same thing. It's a Bob Ross color, but it sort of blends out very quickly as well with whatever colors underneath. Since we're painting wet on wet here, we're getting that. I want to have some more this reddish color in here. I'll put it in, and I'm going to use my blending brush and come back over it and see if I can blend it together a little better. Okay. So far I'm liking what it's doing. I haven't washed out a brush yet. I haven't even wiped out my blending brush, but I'm going to do that now because I've got some of that ultramarine violet color in there, so I want to try to see if I can okay. Who would have thought I'd spent 20 minutes doing this sky? But that's what we have to do here to get this, to get the colors we want. Come back over here. I'm going to pick up more of this violet and pull it in. So it's going to be like an explosion of light. If you notice, if you remember my value map, I had this, all of this explosion of light coming out of the center behind that sun. So I want to make this reflect that as much as possible by just layering on more dark colors and blending them with this brush. Okay, starting to look, I turn around and look at my monitor back here behind me periodically to see what you are seeing. It has to be darker here because I still want it to look like it's exploding out of this area. Okay, getting more and more out there. Still want some more of this reddish color up here. I'm working pretty hard on this sky to make sure I have enough of the colors I want up here. The orange and the red. Okay, so the technique with this brush is really to help make this blend together a lot more, a lot better, and give me these cloud shapes that I want up here in this sky. Okay, and here I've got just another section, a sliver of reddish orange right in, where is it? Right in here. Yeah. Okay. What's interesting is this, all of this below here has got the same kind of coloring to it, all below here, and I haven't put any liquid white on it down here, but all of this is going to have same kind of color. Now this is going on a lot differently because I don't have liquid white under it. It's a little bit darker. I'm leaving room for my sun and the sun's reflection there. Picking up some other colors here. So this is all water down here that we're looking at. So I'm going to want to have some vertical brush strokes in this water down here to make sure I tell you the story that this is water. And it's a little bit different color. It's kind of a fun type painting to try your skills at, because we're putting a lot of color in this thing, and the original image we're looking at is really dark. So again, I'm going to have down here at the bottom, I'm going to have more of the violet color merging into this, which is going to reflect the sky. So the sky is going to be reflected in that color on the bottom. I've been using this little number 4. I'm going to get a bigger brush here and try to get some. I'm going to just bring this sort of into it from down here. A bit too lavender. I put a little white in that to see if I could change the color a little bit. And I did. So I've really only used this orange and whites, my ultramarine violet, a little bit of black, a little bit of white. Haven't used any other color off my palette. So we want these to sort of reflect a little bit of reflection here. I've got a big highlight right here in the middle that comes down from the sun that I'm going to put in a second, but let me see if I can sort of smooth this out a little bit using my blending brush again. Notice I didn't make that rectangular. I didn't make it squared off in any way. Trying to make it look like it's water and it's reflecting the sky above it. Hopefully that does it. Let me see here. Get my little. We've got this ribbon of dark going across. That's really a row of trees of some kind. So I'm going to use my dark colors right here. Start putting in this land mass back here. There's a. I think it's trees. It runs all the way over here and connects to this area. If I were going to put any green in, I'd probably put it here for trees, but I don't really see any trees there. I don't see any green trees, I should say. I see little bumps that I know must be trees of some kind, but not really there in what I'm able to paint here, what I want to paint. I'm going to put a few little things that look like there might be some trees back there sticking up. A few little things coming down in the water. We should have a few little things like this to show the, or again, a little reflection. The something like that. All right, let me come back and see if I can put this sun in now. This sun is basically bright. I'm going to use cad yellow right out of the tube with some titanium white, and see if I can get how close I can get to that color. I might put a little bit of orange in there just to tone it down a little bit. So I'm making this color up right here. That's going to be the sun right in here. There, and it's going to reflect down here under it like that. Okay, not too much. Take a little white, come back with a little bit of white and put on top of that maybe. Brighten it up in some spots. Notice this is not quite covering back here. The canvas back there, I want to get that out. Okay, so just coming down here and making a nice little reflection of that sun. Okay, now what else we got? We've got some more of this kind of color up here in this area that's probably very bright in some areas. I'm going to see if I can put in a little heavier paint now. Brighten it up a little bit in some areas. Leave a little more paint on the canvas. And the whiteness, the brightest part, is underneath. Because basically that's what the sun is highlighting, is the bottom of these clouds. The sky that comes underneath there. Some spots up here. Okay. A few little spots over here. Making good progress here today, folks. This is coming along nicely. Little brown, darker spots in some areas that sort of change the tone a little bit, like there's some other shadows in there. Just don't make it all one color. Looks pretty decent to me. Okay, over here behind this, this is a mountain, or a little bit of a mountain type area over here that I want to kind of have stick out. If you can see that well or not, let me. So I'm putting another color over the top of this just to sort of tone that violet down a little bit. Oops, I just went over my area back there that's supposed to be land. Better go back and fix that right away. It's this area here that's really, it's too dark. And it just blends in with this back here. Got that almost too yellow or orange back here. All right, let me get my blending brush out and see if I can smooth some of that out in there. Okay. So far, so good, folks. Hope you're still with me. Somebody asked a question here. You did white underpainting. Is it necessary to do an underpainting? No, it's not. It just gives me a lot more ability to move the paint up here on the top as I was trying to blow this out, the paint moves a lot smoother on the canvas. You have to use a lot more paint actually if you don't put some underpainting on it. But I didn't use underpainting down here in the foreground, and it went on fine. It just took me more time and used more paint. But basically, you don't have to use an underpainting. I use that Bob Ross liquid white just to sort of give me a slow drying layer when you're painting wet on wet. There is a paint that is sold by, I think it's Winsor Newton. It's called Underpainting White, and it dries faster. And so you can actually have a faster drying white paint if you want to have it get sticky after about an hour. I mean, if you're going to paint for a long time, you want to maybe consider that. I don't tend to paint for hours at a time. My paintings typically last 1 hour, 2 hours, something like that. I follow one artist, and I've mentioned his name before, that when he paints, sometimes he'll spend 5 hours on an oil painting, and he uses underpainting white so that it will dry faster, and gives him an underpainting, and it dries faster, so he can get back into those areas and paint over it very, very quickly, a lot faster than you would if you had to. Certainly, if you use a liquid white, because liquid white takes weeks to dry sometimes. So I think I'm going to stop on this sky pretty much now and say I'm pretty satisfied with that. I probably can go back and touch it up in a few places, but pretty much that's representative of the photograph. So let me now clean out a couple brushes here and see if we can get started on this dock and everything on the left side here. There's a boat that sits right here that's really, when I lighten it up, it's a white boat, but in the original photo it doesn't look white at all. So we got this one quadrant here we have left to work on, and I'm probably going to use another half hour or so to work on it, and then probably we'll be done. Let me see here. Make sure I got make sure I have this canvas covered behind this boat back here, where I'm trying to keep as much of this boat as I can. So I remember where it is. I think I have water back in here. So I'm just kind of filling in some of these gaps where I want to have background behind these things I'm going to put in. There's a dock here, and I've got some wood to put around it. So I'm going to get my little brush here now. I've got this little zero treacle brush. It's really a round. I could use my script liner, but I'm going to just come in here and start putting in now these this little structure, this dock, and this area out here. I'm using my browns, my Van Dyke brown and my dark sienna. So I'm just going to kind of paint these in. This is part of the dock that sticks out. Like that. It has a little bit of a cross brace in there. And we've got these that come down here. There's a bunch of them. I don't have any underpainting under this at all. So I'm wet on dry here. Wet paint on dry canvas. But I have been able to preserve my sketch underneath so I can see where I'm going. Okay, these things kind of come up here and show you basically shows you the perspective as this dock is going back. So I'm using these dark colors and this little pointed brush sort of get this in. There are some dark areas here that I want to have about the same color. In this boat back here, there's a dark window. So I got this small brush. I'll put that window in back there. Some other things that are dark in there are the sails that are covered up here. This is a covering for the sailboat's sail, all wrapped up here. I'm using this violet color. That's one sail. The other one back there is just a little bit lighter, maybe, if I can find it. I think it's right here. Put a little darker shadowy in there so you can actually see it. It's a little bit too light. So, see those two things? They both have like an orange, bright orange buoy or something laying here. Top of this boat is, I'm going to make it lighter than it is in the, if you were there in the sunset, this wouldn't look black to you and it wouldn't look real dark. It would look, you would be able to see this boat here. So I'm using some white now, painting this forward boat. It is a white boat, but it is in a lot of shadow. So I'm making it just about the color of the canvas underneath, the value of the canvas underneath. It's white. So you can't tell that from the canvas right now. I'm going to put something around it so you can actually see it, but I will be putting in some more water down here. And that will help identify the bottom of this boat. In this area here, I'll be putting in something darker. Right now, I want this boat to be just sort of a grayish color. So this is not a sailboat here I'm painting. This is a power boat. So it's docked right next to these two sailboats back there. So let's put all this in. Hard for you to tell that's a boat, I'm sure. But we'll be putting some more things on there in a minute to make it stand out. It has couple of buoys hanging on its side, like right in here. There's another one there. And those will have a reflection in the water. Okay, so starting to see some image of a boat up here. Put a couple of thin lines on here if I can get them thin enough. Will help show you the I don't want to make it just one solid line. I want it to be sort of a broken line so you can see that. And of course the photograph makes that, when I brighten it up, it makes it very, very sharp and detailed, but I don't want to show it to you that way. I want you to just sort of see the image of a boat here. Kind of getting it. If I put something above that that's darker now, right in here, you'll be able to see that boat pop out. And I'm going to show you that. This is the value of contrast. It's a very dark color. I think it's water, but I'm not sure. But it's going to go back in here like this, and it's going to just highlight the back side of this boat. And you'll be able to see it pop out now. Hopefully, if I do it right. Could be darker. If I make a nice sharp edge out of that, you'll be able to see that. Okay, it's starting to look like a boat sitting in the water, and if I use the same colors now, come below it, you'll be able to see the bottom of that boat. And you will know this is water down here. See how nice that works? Boat's starting to show up. I'll lighten that up a little bit so I can show you the fact that it's water in here. But I want it to sit below that boat and have a little reflection. Vertical brush strokes will tell that story. Hopefully that's going to show you that a little bit. Maybe even just a touch of this orange over here to pull down into this water. I'm pretty close to this. I'm making awful detailed work here, folks. I don't know if you can see it or appreciate that all that well, but that's what I'm doing. Okay, well, Neil Jean, what is that? You're in France. Well, it must be about 5 hours ahead of us in France, or 6 hours maybe. Appreciate you tuning in and watching. Okay, we've got a dock here that is brown and it's getting some reflection of the sun as well. Try this brown color here and see if we can lighten it up with some get a bigger brush. That brush is way too small. take a little of my dark sienna and white. It's almost too bright, but I'm going to come back and put some colors over it to darken it down, give it a little texture here and there, show some of the boards. Okay. So again, I've got another set of brush strokes that sort of point you to the sun, if you will. I've got this very dark color going along the bottom. This brush. Okay, so what do we do with it to make give ourselves some boards across there? Let's take this same old big brush we had, this flat brush, and see if we can. I want these to be pretty much horizontal. This thing is something like that. This color here just got a little bit out of whack. It's actually a pretty sharp edge right there. Kind of ran over it when I pulled that big brush down, but it's basically should be straight and angular. Pretty sharp edge. So I just got a little bit of this, very little bit of this lavender color, purple color, just hitting it ever so slightly. Maybe make a few things like that. This thing has a very, very dark shadow in here, this area. You cannot see anything underneath it here. It's just a shadow of the water, basically. I think the water has a I'm going to go back and get some more of my lavender or violet and pull in here. So by just taking a little bit of white now, I can pull down on some. It's going to help you see that this is really water. Even though that's not in a photograph, I'm using a sort of an optical illusion there to help that show up. And it's got a little orange, nice little orange reflection right in here somewhere that kind of holds your eye and points your eye. Okay, so how are we doing? I just got a little bit of boat work, detail work to do back in here. I think I'll have most of it done. I want to try just a little more to identify this as water over here. Those vertical streaks will do that, and if I come back with my blending brush and sort of give them a little blend this way, you'll see that that's water, and it's really connected to the other water over here. It's just got different colors in it because of the dock shadow is shadowing it. Okay, I kind of like the way that looks. Okay. Now, I got another boat back here. They have these, I'm going to use this little brush again, I think, and I'm going to change the color. There's a boat that's behind this boat that's still white, and I'm going to change his color. I'm going to make him more violet, I think, so that it stands out back there. Hopefully that's, you can see that. So now I've actually, by putting that second boat in, I've actually highlighted this first boat again. You can now see it. And there's a third boat back there that's even a different color. I don't know what color to make him. I haven't used any blues, but I think I'm going to stay away from the blues. So I just kind of want to make these look like they're something back there. I'm not trying to paint you a perfect boat, but I am trying to show you there's more than one boat sitting here. So by alternating from this color in front to the dark color to the lighter color in the back and giving it these particular shapes, I'm helping you see this is a boat, 3 boats actually. I've got some sun shining on this dock. I'm going to put in some lighter colors on there to lighten it up a little bit. It probably needs to be more orange than that, but I'm over painting my other areas here. I'm going to have to come back and restate some of that. Okay, I've got these big orange blobs. Actually I've got, let me see here. I want to take this one here. These things sort of reflect down into the water. And these are buoys. They're on the side of this boat, hanging down into the water. So I'm just lightening them up. I'm going to make them look like this, and then I'm going to pull my blending brush through them and basically give them a little bit of a something like that that shows they're there, but it's not sharp edges. It's not painted as a sharp edge. So that's looking pretty good for me there. I like the looks of that. All right, these things have, I'm gonna have to clean out a brush here, folks. Hold on just a minute. I got a couple of orange buoys here that are, I think they're buoys. They may not be orange, or they may not be buoys. I think one of them is actually some sort of a towel or something, but they're really bright, sitting right in here. There's one. I've got another one here. Okay, now, what else have I got here? I've got some, all right, I've got to work on my masts now. I think that's about all I got left here. First I want to put down some little vertical things that look like we got boards that are here. Don't have to do that, but think it helps. Anything that's up close like this, if you can sort of give it some more detail, you're better off. It helps tell the story that this is receding in space, and we have details up front here, but we don't have them further back. This is brown. Got this. I'm going to come in and pick up a little bit of my white and put in just a few bright yellow, if I can get this yellow color I want. Put in just a few little reflections on these things here to show. Those are catching the sun. Maybe a little bit on this boat here that shows it's catching a little sun. What else? Okay, so I've got these two big things that go up, and I've already lost my image there, but I think I remember where it was. Big challenge is trying to make a straight line here. I don't know if I can do it or not, but I'm going to just try to go up about right here. It's hard to see that, but okay, there's one. Put in some other debris and stuff in here that's kind of fills out the canvas. Okay, my other one over here is probably even lighter than that. I'm going to see if I can, maybe I'll use my script liner, get this thing out, get me some very runny paint using my Van Dyke and my black. So this is thinner. Okay, script liner, that's where they got their name from, these kind of things. There's this boat, there's something like that, something coming down like this. Okay, even have another one going up somewhere around here. Something like that. Pretty close. These aren't perfect lines, but got a few more things out here that look like they're docks or posts or something sticking up. Just add a little something here to give ourselves a little bit of variation of some kind. Those aren't in the photograph either, but I'm putting them in just to help tell the story here. We've got a dock and several boats are in. That's close. Might be a little too much here, but I'm going to it's a little bit thicker, this one, because it's a little bit closer. got a mask that sticks off of it like that. I don't even know if you can see that. It's very hard to see it probably on the camera, but there's that. A few more things. Okay, I think, folks, I'm about ready to call this quits. I think I've got enough back there that you can tell the difference in the boats. Hopefully that works. Could have a little straighter lines there, but if I go back and try to fix that now, it's not going to work. Not with a wet canvas, it won't work. Let me see here, what else have I got to do? Step back. I haven't stepped back and looked at this thing the whole time. It's pretty close, pretty close. Nice little sunset. I've lightened it up enough that you can really see the boats here. In the original photo, that was all digital photo, made that all dark, almost black. And it could be a little darker in some spots, but I think it's good enough this way. I don't want to ruin it by messing around in there too much. But I think that's the story I wanted to tell. Just this. Yeah, that's almost too sharp an edge, right? I'm looking at this piece of land there. I'm going to just sort of feather that out just a little. There. It's almost too sharp. You get a sharp edge that far back and it starts coming forward, so it gets the perspective all out of whack. So I wanted to make sure that we didn't have that. And I think that may be all I want to do to this. But maybe a couple other swipes there, a few out here. A few clouds, okay. If I keep messing with it, I'll likely make it worse. Therefore, even though we're about an hour and 10 minutes into this painting, I think I'm going to stop. I'm going to put my block signature on here for you. Can't hardly see that, but that's okay. Okay, all right. What else can I do? I think I'm going to stop with that. It's got a nice movement. You see the sky is just kind of exploding from that sunset. And it's kind of what I wanted. I got just a little bit of fuzziness in this sun here. I think maybe I'll just touch it very briefly and blur it just a little bit more. Something like that, so it's not quite so distinct. Again, it's pretty far away too, so I don't want to have it come too forward. Just putting those little horizontal, I mean, that's just barely touching the canvas there with this brush. Okay, folks, I'm going to stop or I'm going to really mess it up. All right. Thank you for watching once again. Thanks for tuning into this live broadcast. I hope you enjoy this painting. I hope you give it a try. I will be editing it and putting it out on my Facebook page or my YouTube channel after this. And you'll be able to get a revised version. I know I had a few goof ups at the beginning of this, so we'll fix that hopefully. And check out my website, check out my Facebook page, and leave me some comments. Let me give this a try and hope you like it. And so till I see you again, this is Larry Hamilton saying so long for now. Bye-bye. Okay.